Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Writer's Mind. I'm CP by Lois, your host. Um, this week I thought we'd get a little bit more into writing. Last couple of weeks we talked about where you get ideas from, how I got started with it, how I learned to read and everything, and then last week about AI and how it's a tool that's being used as more than that. This week I thought we'd dive into what kind of writers are we. That's something that it's complicated. It's not complicated. I mean, all of us have our own habits. We have our own talents. We have our own method of doing things. Writers for are broken down into two categories, which pretty much everyone, you've all probably heard this at some point, but we have pantsers and we have plotters. Pantsers are like myself, where we just fly by the seat of our pants. We have an idea, we have a couple characters, and we see where the story takes us. You have plotters that they go through and they outline everything. And then different levels. Some will do a vague outline, some will do a very intense outline. Well, they'll know, Jack meets Jill on page 126 and so on. It comes down to what works best for us. Sometimes it's easy to have it laid out like that. Other times it's not. I know for myself, I usually have an idea how it begins, the climax, and how I want to end. But everything in between just writes itself. Sit down, see what happens. Let the characters play. It's like playing make-believe when we were kids. I always say, excuse me, I said it for years. I always say it's like writing is, as an adult, is us playing. As a kid, like we used to play make believe with our toys, with our friends. It was like it gives us a permission. We get to play like when we were kids. We get to play make believe. We get to create our own worlds, our own characters. We get to recreate things we liked. Something we saw on a show or a movie or we read about. We can put our own twist on it. We get to create our own worlds. We get to just have fun. We get to play. It's like being a kid again. And that's where, whatever works for us works for us. When I started running, oh boy, about 14 years ago, I heard a whole bunch of things like, if you're not plotting, you're not doing it right. If you're not doing an outline, that's the only way to do it. And everything else. And then I read Stephen King's On Writing, which for me is the writing Bible. It's just great. It's a how to write book, but it's more like a biography about his experiences and how you can relate to it. And at one point he was saying how he likes to take two characters, put them in a situation, see what happens. And that's pretty much what I do. It's fun. It's spontaneous. You don't know what's going to happen. It's hard to keep track of stuff though. So if you do write a series, I have problem with my series when I do one of my series I wrote with this, because there's always inconsistencies. Because it's hard, because you're not expecting to write a series. Or if you are, you don't keep track of it. Because, again, at the time when I started, story Bible? What's a story Bible? Learn as you go, right? But, it's like, you get to keep track of it. And that's one thing, always know our characters, keep track of where we're going, even if we're creating on the fly. Update as needed, enjoy it. And just see where the ride takes us. And if, we're plotting it, great. And we have it kind of laid out. We know what to expect. We know what points we want to make. It makes it a little easier, streamlines a little bit. I know for myself, if I'm following an outline, like I'll do a bullet point, like some things I want to cover. For me, it kind of too streamlines it, where I almost make sure I hit those points, but between them, I don't really create, if that makes sense. I kind of feel like it happened, but not like I would otherwise. It's just how my mind works. I'm kind of in this little box I created, and I can't quite get out of it because I don't know how to get back in. I can come up with some great ideas, but then, I missed this point, and that point, and then the story kind of gets away from me, and then the outline's out the window. It doesn't work for me. So an outline, you need to, it's very structured. Need to either know how to, trying to think of how to maneuver around it, how to manage yourself. And you want to be disciplined. Do you mind going outside the lines every now and then? How do you get back in? It takes a lot of very thought process. In a lot of ways, it's a lot more intensive if you're not used to it. If you're used to it, it's easy. You just do it like anything else. Like, there's a pantser. If you're used to pantsing, you just do it. If you're not used to it, it takes a little effort, but it can be worthwhile. So each of us have our own styles. We each have our own systems. And it's what works for us. What works for me won't work for someone else, or will work for someone else. It's up for each of us to find what works for us, what we want to do, what we hope to do. And it's It's a fun. It can be maddening. It can be frustrating and maddening to try to figure out what we're doing, what we want to do, how to get there. But it's also fun. We get to discover new territories. Apart from Star Trek, to go where no one's gone before. It is what it is. We get to explore all these new worlds, all these new ways, all these new techniques. It's fun. So whether you pants, whether you plot, or you do a little both, whatever works for you, just remember, have fun with it. Relax. Let the characters roam. Let them play in your mind. And see what works for you. Okay? Until next time, guys, have a great one. Let your imaginations fly.